Hey everybody, this is Jonathan McGowan with Optimize 5, and we are going to do today's Google search tour. And so Chattanooga, Tennessee, it has around 2,700 real estate agents according to the Realtor Association, but only a few are showing up on Google. So are you one of them? We're going to do a deep dive today to see who's being found online, who's missing out, and what you need to do to stand out. And so you can see all these beautiful faces, tons of agents there, but let's jump into this. And so let's start. So introducing Chattanooga, Tennessee, we're going to search just like somebody would if they were looking for an agent to help them buy or sell a property there. So I put in my real estate agents in Chattanooga search query. We get our search results here at the top that are paid ads. We all know those are ads now. It has this big sponsored button here. Most people are going to ignore that, a couple other sponsored components, and then the section that basically everybody uses. And this is the Google Business Profile area. So as I go into this, and actually start looking at these agents, we have a few that stand out. So these top two, they're paying for that position again. So we're going to start by looking at this team here. One thing I noticed, just a general observation for Chattanooga, there's a lot of teams here. As you go through this, it's team, all the way until I get to the bottom. And this is also a two-person team, but at least they're not calling themselves a team. So if you want to work with an individual agent in Chattanooga, not a lot of options right now. There's also not many brokerages showing up. It's mostly these teams. So they're really standing out here. There's some exceptions to that, but that's primarily what we're seeing. And that's a bit unique for this area. So just a good thing to note. So as we dig in, let's go ahead and search out this brokerage and see if I were referred to them. We all know 87% of referrals, they're going to Google you before they call you. So as I look at this, just pretending like I was referred to them, I see lots of good information. So first off, I see a team photo, but it is a bit small. It's hard to see the team. They're trying to tie in the area and the brand, but because of the way that it sits on Google, it's really difficult to see. So I may actually prefer to go to, one of these other team photos, and probably one of these full team photos, a little more compressed, maybe crop it in as tight as I could without cutting people off, maybe even to shoulder, just to bring them in a little bit and be able to see them better on that profile. Another thing to note is there's probably only about 30 photos on this Google Business Profile, and this is the top ranking person in this area right now. And again, a stat that's important to remember is that Google profiles with 100 or more photos get 512 times more people to call them through the Google panel than profiles with less. So if these guys step that up, add some more photos, that's really going to help get them some more engagement on that profile. Name structure looks right based on, being the team name, the brokerage name. So that is good. Reviews, we've got a bunch, 873. That is quite the list of reviews. Now, what people often do is they're going to go in here and they're going to say, show me the newest. What's happened lately? Look at this. We got one an hour ago. Love it. It's a short review, but that's great to see that somebody just left this. They've already replied. Love seeing that. You want to make sure your reply is 2 to 3 sentences minimum, something warm and thoughtful and customized to each person. So this definitely is following that. When we go lowest rating, the other search that people are often going to do, they've got some bad reviews. Most recent is a year ago, and no reply. So that's a big miss. Those negative reviews are actually even more important to reply to than the positive ones, because it can really, make you stand out as the reasonable person if it's an empathetic, thoughtful reply, even if they're unreasonable. So opportunity there for this team. They're open 24 hours. I see a lot of folks do that as long as you are available on the weekends, and this is when you can take a text message or phone call. It's fine to have that, so that works. This isn't like an office location where you'd want to have the brick and mortar hours. Like this was Keller Williams in Chattanooga, and it's just for the office, not an individual. I probably would put the actual, like, when can you walk in the door hours, but for this, super appropriate. I think that works. As we get products, so this is a pretty robust Google Business Profile. They've done a lot of stuff. Challenge is they're using properties as products. I don't recommend that. And so one of the things that happens often is that these end up listed or sold, and this is a property that might be on the market only for a few days if it's a really hot area. And so when I click Learn More, let's see what happens. Where does it go? And this is going to an oops page. So that property is no longer in the market. That's what I'm seeing here. And that is not a great look and feel. So what I would recommend doing is actually linking to a page instead of a specific property page, homes for sale in this city, and link to an IDX page that's pre-filtered for houses in that market. And it's always staying up to date because that's IDX page is fed by the MLS. And so there's some great ways to do that. Have things like home buyer consultation, home seller consultation, custom home value analysis. So you should make sure there's at least 4 properties, but you don't need to have 100 properties on here, but 4 different products. And I would do evergreen products, things that are going to stay up to date. Categories are always good to have: buyer services, seller services. They just have for sale in real estate. So I think they can really build out this a bit more. No license number here in the team description. They do have 4 links showing for social profiles. That's great, as long as these are active profiles. We don't have time today to assess those, but I'm going to just assume that they're doing good stuff on there and the names match, because they really should. Okay, so let's go to another person. So let's go and do the bottom person on this. So bottom profile on page 1. Now there's a bunch of pages, but these are the ones people are typically going to look at. Let's check these guys out. So they have a team, but it's 2 people and a picture of the 2 of them. That's good. I like seeing a picture of the 2 of them. That works nicely. We've got some other photos here, but not nearly enough. So let's get some more photos. 28 reviews actually is pretty good. I don't mind 28 reviews, but the last one was a year ago and there's no replies, like ever. Huge room for opportunity. I'm starting to see why this is at the bottom of page 1 instead of the top. There's some clear differentiators. Closed on Saturday and Sunday. One thing to note, Google, when you have your business is closed, so if I search here and I'm looking at these agents and your business is closed, it's got a red business closed mark next to it, and it lowers your ranking during the time that you're closed. So if you take phone calls and text messages on the weekend, you better have your profile open. Also, do you really not take text messages and phone calls after 5 p.m.? You're discouraging people from reaching out before 8:30 or after 5. So I would consider broader hours, maybe 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 8 p.m. or something, some sort of hours on the weekends, if not broad as well. So big room for opportunity there. That's really going to make an impact. No license number. Again, only 2 social profiles. There should be at least 4. Google will show 4. You can add more behind the scenes, but 4 is what will display right now. It used to be 5, but Google changes stuff all the time. Let's see. They had posts in 2020, but it's been since December 31st. So happy New Year 2021, but we did not do anything since then. So they definitely need to start posting again. So I think they put some focus on this. I think it's been a while. It does not look like they had a business or a marketing person help them with it. It was probably done in-house. So lots of opportunity on this profile. So you can see what a dramatic difference from the top of Chattanooga to the bottom. And it shows there's a lot of opportunity for you. If you're not on this first page yet, but you're looking to be, you know where the bar is. And frankly, none of them had it completely nailed. So there's some good room there. I would be encouraged if I was an agent in this area. So let's do one more assessment, because Google doesn't just look at what's here, right? It's going to look at the rest of the internet and determine if it can trust this information. So let's look at the top and the bottom listing and do a quick scan. So for the top listing, I searched the name, address, and phone number in our software to see what comes up. And obviously it matches on Google because that's where I pulled the information from, but they're not listed on Bing. Facebook, they couldn't find a profile with matching information. Yelp, any of these other ones. There are a few profiles out there, but like this one has a conflict on the phone number. This has a different name structure, different phone number. So these conflicts are really not ideal. And all that missing information isn't either. And you might say, Jonathan, who goes to YP.com or GoLocal 24/7? Well, Google looks at these, right? So they're important. 93% inaccuracy. So that's on the top profile. So imagine if you built a better profile and you actually got all these citations set up, this would be, you'd be able to stand out really well here. So when looking at the bottom listing, Barry and Diane, they actually have a slightly better accuracy, 90% instead of 93 inaccurate. Not quite as inaccurate, but they're both pretty off. These guys do have a Facebook, but they didn't list their phone number on Facebook. So if you're doing great on social media, but people can't contact you, not ideal. Different name structure. This is actually probably a different person, but it has the same phone number, so that's odd. Easy local, different name structure. Yeah, there's just so many conflicts where like this is the team, but they've gone by different names at different times. Instead of having their names, they had this Robinson team name and they shifted, but they didn't shift their citation. So that's a miss. That's why typically you want software running in the background, always keeping these up to date. And when your business branding changes to like this new name structure, think of Google as your master profile. It's the one that everything else should match with perfectly. So your website, your citations. So great opportunity there. They certainly should take advantage of that. Quick web assessment. When I went to the top listings website, the website's, looks like a modern architecture, Sierra Interactive. I saw that in the footer, but it's not going full width. So I have a really wide screen. This is a 27-inch widescreen we're looking at right now, but this is what a lot of people use nowadays. And the fact that it doesn't go to the edge, especially for the heroes section, that looks a little old. That's an old style of website. So that would be something to address. We do want to make sure that the name, address, phone number, all those are matching. We're linking to the same social profiles. So it's in pretty good shape from that respect. If we look at the page speed in the stats, so this is a free tool, Page Speed Insights. You can go and search any website you want. It'll tell you how it performs on mobile and desktop. Google likes to tell you what they see. It's actually doing okay. So performance, this is your speed, accessibility, best practices in SEO. Pretty good website, better than many in the real estate space. And then on desktop, it's actually slower, which is backwards. Like you almost always see mobile slower than desktop. But in this case, it's reversed. So I would have the web developer look at these things for speed here and address some of them, because something's going on that is making this struggle when people first get to your homepage for desktop, which is what's used actually more often than mobile. So something to address. And then for the other team that we were looking at the bottom of the listing there, so this is for Barry and Diane. When I click on their website link, let's just do it together. I had it pulled up there, but let's just see. It's unavailable. So this website is dead. You're taken to an old link. The site's been changed. They didn't update the Google profile. So big miss there, because if I want to go vet you, and this is the place where I do it from, I can't see anything. So lots of opportunities. There's always services. These guys have almost none. So just to do, that comparison again, services is really important. You want to be a real estate agent if you're in real estate, a real estate consultant, and you want to be a real estate agency. And so these guys have all three, and they actually have some keywords that are aligned with those too. So they added these extra keywords, some additional depth on their services. Again, just doing that comparison. These guys have no keywords. They only have 3 services. So, this could really be built out. That would be a huge advantage for them. So, that's my assessment for these markets today. Now, if you want to know how your profile stacks up personally, you're on Google, click on the link in the bottom of this video. There's a link where you can get a free 30-minute assessment if that's what you want. There's no commitment to buy. You actually get a custom strategy built for you. Love to do it. But also, if you want us to audit your service type in your city, put that in the comments, and then we'll consider those. And if we get a few in the same area and get some demand, we'll focus one of our videos on your area. So we'd love to make sure that you get the results you want to see. But this, hopefully you learn from it. You benefited from this time. We look forward to seeing you again really soon. Have a great day.